Hello, hello. This is Dr. Hines. Today, I want to talk about who is responsible when a student does not perform to a satisfactory level while in school. Is it the student's fault, the child's fault, or is it the parent's fault? Now, notice I did not mention is it the school's fault. And in some cases, the school is responsible for a child's failure. Okay? I'm not blind to that fact, but for this argument, I want to take the schools out of it, and let's look at the student, and let's look at the parent. Now we know that most parents want their child to be successful in school. That is their desire. That is their premise. That is their purpose. They want their child to be successful. And most parents, some parents, a large degree of parents, provide an atmosphere at home for the child to be successful. So it's not just about making sure you have clothes, making sure you have a backpack, making sure you have supplies when you go to school, but it's also providing an area, regardless of the home situation, that the child feels comfortable in coming home, can get nourishment, can get rest, and is comfortable doing their homework at home so that they can be successful. What I've learned over the years, it has very little to do with money. I've seen students who live in households where it's 10 or 15 people in a home. There's always somebody home, from an infant to a senior citizen, and that student feels comfortable coming home. That student loves being at home, and that student always feels that no matter how many people are in the house, they have an environment that's safe where they can come home and prepare themselves to be successful at school. And then I know parents that live in multi-million dollar homes, and the child has a whole layer to themselves. But that's it has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with what you're able to provide your child with the means that you have, but you're making an important decision, and you're making an effort to make sure that that child has an adequate space for them to learn, and for them to study, for them to do the homework, projects, all of that. Okay? But there's a mindset of parents who feel that as long as they provide a roof over their head, clothes on a student's back, a child's back, food in their belly, that's all they have to do. That's once that child leaves that home and goes to school, it's now up to the school to figure everything out. If the child acts out from a disciplinary standpoint, if the child has a problem following the rules, if a child just, doesn't go to class, doesn't perform in class, some parents leave that responsibility on the school and will tell the school, you figure it out. I'm doing my job. I'm trying to make sure they come to the best of my ability, but I have my life to live. So I need you all to do what you do as professionals to help my child succeed. Because I want my child to succeed. I want my child to do well in school. But I'm not equipped, and I'm not going to put in the effort to do anything at home. I'm doing the basics. They have a room. They have a place to use the bathroom. There's food in the refrigerator for them to eat. But, I'm busy. I'm working my life. I'm doing my thing. School, I need you to do your part. Okay? And they feel that if a child fails, some parents believe it's the school's fault. Well, you failed my child because you didn't provide this for my child. You didn't provide that for my child. But then you talk to the child and they're like, I don't even see my mom or my dad or whoever's taking care of me every night. I may bump into them maybe once or twice a week, but that's it. Well, I'm out working. I'm out paying the bills. Are you really working? That's a whole different question. But, I'm there. I'm providing for the child. That's what I'm supposed to do. It's the school's job to make sure that they can know how to study, get on them about their work. Why would you let my child fail and think I'm supposed to do anything to help? Some parents feel that way. I'm not talking about other parents. There are some parents, if you send that parent an email and said that your child was chewing gum in class, they're on it. And they, have an intervention, I'll just say kindly, with that child. But that's what they do. And so I want to take this in two separate parts. What is the responsibility of the child when it comes to school? Well, the child has to come to school. When they're in elementary years, yes, the parent, you take a huge responsibility on child's attendance, because the child's not going to get on the bus. The child's not going to come in the building unless you put forth the effort to make sure that child comes. You have to make sure that child has nourishment at home. You have to make sure that child is clothed to the best of your ability. And you have to put that effort to making sure that child goes to school. Now, it's not, even though there are issues of attendance and things like that in elementary school, it's a whole complete issue when we get to middle school and high school. But as a child, I have to come to school. I have to do my work. I have to put forth effort in the classroom, because when the child comes to school, they're not around the parent for the particular period of time or hours that they're in school on each school day. So they have to pay attention. They have to do their assignments. They have to participate. They have to engage. They have to ask questions. These are the responsibilities of the child. Now, in a perfect world, a child's going to come to school, do that, no problem. But we know that's not a perfect world. And we know that there are some students, due to a myriad of issues, that feel uncomfortable talking to their teacher about a problem that they're having in a class, a problem they're having with a certain peer in their class. They don't, it's not that they don't have the ability, they don't have the comfort level to be able to discuss that. Because sometimes in some situations, the child feels like, if I tell the teacher, I'm going to get in trouble, or there's going to be some consequence I'm going to have to face. So I don't want to do that. So, and that's really what it is. The child's supposed to come to school, do the work, do the best they can, ask questions, and proceed through, because that's really the responsibility of the child. They have to do that. And they are at the forefront of whether or not the child succeeds in school or fails. Now, let's switch to the parent. What is the parent's responsibility when it comes to school? Well, first, parents have a responsibility when it comes to school. And I think for some parents, that's news. Just because you provide a place for them to live and you provide clothes and food, that is not the end of your responsibility. You have to take an interest in their education. And it's actually easier now than what it was 20, 30 years ago. 20, 30 years ago, the only communication you had with a teacher in the school is either you came up to the school and spoke with the teacher, or you got on the phone and you talked with them on the phone. And a lot of parents 20, 30 years ago had no problem calling parents from their home phones. No problem. Now you don't see that. I mean, you have some, teachers that have no problem calling a parent on their personal cell phone, so much and so forth. But a lot of teachers are not doing that now, because we have the internet. And because most school districts have a way that you as a parent can engage on your child's academics. So you can go online and you can find out if your child attended all classes, if there's any assignments that are missing that need to be turned in, how the child doing with their assessments and their tests. And even if there's a behavior situation, the teacher has a way to communicate with the parent through email. Hey, today in class, your child was not attentive. I asked him or her a question. They didn't answer. They seemed to be very distant, very disengaged. We need them to be engaged because we have testing coming up, projects due. They're not turning them in. They're not turning in these assignments, so much and so forth. So once that information hits the ear of the parent, what is the parent supposed to do? And in some cases, some parents say, well, I just talk with my child and that's it. I let them know that I know what's going on, and I leave it up to the child because it's their education. I got my high school diploma. I got my college degree. They need to get theirs. Well, sometimes that's the most hurtful thing that a parent can say, or any staff member can say to a child. I got mine. You got to get yours. Because what it does is it builds levels between you and the child. Like, for a child will say to their mind, of all the things you can say to me to motivate me, you think that's going to motivate me? To say that you got yours and I need to get mine? It's a different time now. It's a different age. You know, a lot of students are questioning, what is the purpose of school? They're dropping out of high school at 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. They're dropping out months before graduation. Because say they have this epiphany that, oh, the high school diploma really isn't that important and I can make it without it. You can, but you can't. But you can, but you can't. Because there are people that didn't graduate from high school, they're doing successful. And there are people that didn't graduate from high school and they're not having the life that they want. So parents have to play a part. There has to be some intervention. But this goes into another area, and I'm not going to speak too much on this, but I will say this. It's hard to discipline a child. It's hard to try to correct a child when they're 16, 17 years old and you never did it when they were 6, 7, and 8. If you didn't have rules and standards at 6, 7, and 8-year-old, you're not going to have it when they're 16, 17 years old. You're not going to get that because they were used to doing what they do at home. So it didn't matter what grades they make. It didn't matter if they brought home F's or if they brought home A's or anything in between. There was no consequence. So now the child is in high school. The child's in the 10th grade. They're in their, first marking period of 10th grade and they bring home D's and F's. And now you want to take this away, take that away, put them on punishment, scold them verbally, emotionally. And that's why you have these kids spazzing out because some of them, not in all cases, some cases, these are just happening. But in some cases, these kids are asking the question, where were you when I was in the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade? But now all of a sudden you want to step in and do something? So I'm saying all this to say that as parents, you have a responsibility to play a part in your child's academic success. You have to play a part. Not just, well, I'm going to take care of everything at home and that's it. No, you need to have communication with the school. Have a communication with the school counselor. Have a communication with their teachers. Email is a wonderful thing. Because teachers can come home after a long day, and contrary to public opinion, teachers do work after hours. All the time. Some of them every single day. And they don't get paid extra for it. And they have a much easier time, after they've gotten their family straight, and it's, maybe 10 o'clock at night, and they're going through their stuff, and they said, oh yeah, Jimmy had a bad day today. Let me email his mom and let her know that, hey, just getting with you, just want to let you know today in class, he was kind of disruptive on his cell phone, was talking when I'm trying to teach. I had to correct him a couple of times. I just wanted to let you know because I need your help so that when he comes to class tomorrow, the next day, he's on point and we don't have the same issues that we have yesterday. As parents, that's really what teachers are asking you to do. And sometimes it could be, I know parents who come in and say, look, I got so much going on with my job, with my life, with everything. I need help. And I'm that person that say, hey, let's have a 3-way meeting. Let's have you, let's have the child, let's have me, and let's have a 3-way conversation. Because what that shows the student, even though a lot of students will come off and act like, I don't like that, I don't want that, it shows the students that there are interested persons at this table. And we want to see you succeed. And we're not trying to fail you, but we're trying to tell you what you need to do, what changes you need to make so that you can be successful academically. And for some students, all they need to know is that somebody cares. I've said this a million times. If more students would be successful if they knew at least one person cared in their life. So, to wrap it up, students, you have a huge responsibility in your success in school. A huge responsibility. But parents, I would say you have an equal responsibility. So if a child succeeds in school, it's an accomplishment for both the child and the parent. But if a child fails in school, it's an equal responsibility between the child and the parent. This is Dr. Hines. Until next time.